This is great. So, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 got an update yesterday on the PS4. Obviously, Xbox One and PCs a week later because console exclusivity and all that. But the game has gotten worse than I could have expected it to be honest. Obviously, there's good stuff being added, like the Blackout map's being expanded, and there's a few weapon buffs and nerfs, and there's a couple new weapons and all that sort of stuff, and the game's getting a wee bit better in terms of gameplay. However, it's vastly overshadowed by everything else they're doing. So, initially when Black Ops 4 came out, obviously you have Black Ops 4, which is a AAA game, it's Call of Duty, it's Activision, whatever, so it's 50 pounds basically, which is $50-$60 or whatever. So it's an expensive game for, you know, when it releases and all that, and I'd say if you go into stores nowadays it's probably about £35-40, so it's around the same sort of ballpark anyway. So it's already a AAA game which costs a good sum of money, and you know, it's 50 quid, and it also has a season pass which is called the Black Ops Pass this year. So it already has its own game, 50 quid, the season pass which is £30 I think, or £35, so that's £85 right off the bat, which is usually what people spend in COD. I would say if you're truly in the COD, you usually get the game then the season pass because DLC maps and zombie maps, so that tends to be what happens. That's fair enough, I can accept that. If you like a game enough you can buy the season pass, fair play. However, they've done other stuff. So the game came out and then there was the battle pass system. So obviously Fortnite brought around this battle pass system. I don't know if they're the first ones to do it, but they're definitely the most popular ones. So Call of Duty copied Fortnite in this regard and added their own system. You don't need the battle pass or you don't need the Black Ops Pass for it, however you can just get it by playing the game. Obviously it's a 50 quid game, you should be able to get it for free. So you can go through all the tiers of the battle pass for free, and initially in season 1 or season 0, whatever it was, I would say it's probably season 1, in the first season you could progress through it, and there was 200 tiers, and until around tier 50 I think you basically got a solid stream of content, so every single tier was a new item. But then after level 50 every other tier was a reserve crate, and then after 100 I think the vast majority of items were reserves, and then every so often it was a new item, and then the very last item was, I think, Hudson for Blackout as a character. So at like tier 199 you get Hudson, but literally between 100 and 199 or 200 I would say around 80 of those tiers were probably reserves, if I'm correct. Which is fair enough, if you play the game a lot you can get these reserve crates. They give you one item, so they're random obviously, so they're kinda like supply drops, but you can't buy them. You just get one reserve item per crate and that's it. So that's fair enough, and there's some items which are exclusive to reserves and stuff like that, and obviously you can't get battle pass items from reserves as far as I know, so that's fine. And you get to tier 200, you keep going past and you keep getting reserves, whatever. So that's fine. For the next, well I think it was actually maxed out at 200 for the first season. For the second season, they made it so it was 100 tiers because 200 too much. However, if you went over 100 tiers, tier 101 was a reserve crate, and every single tier after that was a reserve crate, which is fair enough. So, reserves have their own loot pool, and they still have their own loot pool. They had their own loot pool, still have their own loot pool, and that was fair enough. You couldn't buy them or anything, you could only get them by playing the game, and you could only get them through the tier system. That makes sense. So in addition to this system, there was also the store. In the store you can buy Blackout skins, you can buy customization stuff for your multiplayer characters, specialists, all that stuff, and weapon camos. I guess that's okay, because, I mean, it's a bit dodgy, because the game already has a season pass, and then you can buy more stuff from an in-game store in the style of Fortnite. However, you can look at other CODs, and there is camos and specific character stuff you could buy in like the likes of Black Ops 2 and stuff, so it kind of, you know, it's not any worse than any other COD. So in this most recent update they have decided to change things and make it worse. So remember those things called supply drops which were in every Call of Duty since Advanced Warfare and magically disappeared from this Call of Duty? Well, they're back, and they've made the supply drop system worse, if that's even possible, and they've also made the tier system worse because of supply drops. So the way it works now is you don't get any reserves from the tier system, as far as I know. every single item, it's the same as last season, where every single item from 1 to 100 is, every tier gives you a new item. There's no reserves, it's just an actual item, which is fair enough, that's what people want. After tier 100 though, you no longer get reserves. You don't get reserves after tier 100. Tier 101, you can still keep going up the tiers, which is the most utterly pointless thing I can think of, because you can still rank up tiers but you don't get anything from it. And it's not even like it's like a player rank, because if you're like level 200, at least people can see you're level 200. If you're rank 200 or tier 200 in the battle pass, no one sees that apart from you, and you don't get anything for it. At least with the leveling up system, and like for player level, everyone sees it and you can feel somewhat good about it. But anyway, you can in fact still get reserves. So they have decided to remove reserves from the tier system, as I've said. However, they've made it so as they are now on a timer. So if you cast your mind back to Advanced Warfare, where supply drops were random, where if you could play, generally every 40 minutes you would get a supply drop. However, sometimes it would be like 20 minutes or 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever. But they were rewarded every time you got a kill or you died after this 40 minutes was up. So it was a random number generator or whatever. But the important thing is, supply drops are based on time played in Advanced Warfare. Every other COD since then has been based off of the key system, or in the likes of World War II, it was based off of RNG at the end of a game, or contracts, orders, whatever. So, in this game, it's time based, and it seems somewhat random. I don't actually know how long it takes, but some people have said it can take 50 minutes, some people have said it can take 2 hours to get a reserve crate. Now the thing that really makes this system horrendous is that in every other COD has a common supply drop and a rare supply drop. So the common supply drop has no guarantees, you're going to get a common, that's it. You could get 3 commons and there's low chances of getting anything else. In Advanced Warfare, common was the base supply drop you got from time played. Advanced supply drops were things that you got for ranking up. Black Ops 3, crypto keys, 10 for a common, 30 for a rare, same thing in Infinite Warfare. And in World War II it was based off of how difficult the contract was really, or an order. So, in this game, in Black Ops 4, there is no common or rare supply drop. They're not even called supply drops, they're called reserve crates, I believe. After an undefined amount of time, it's probably between an hour and 2 hours, you will get a reserve case. What a reserve case is it's the exact same thing that the tier reserve cases give you, where it's just one randomized item from the loot pool that reserve crates can give you. However, you can get, I believe, all of the items you could get from previous tiers in the tier system. So, you can get every item you could get from prior operations from the battle pass. So that's literally tier 1 to 100. All of the items from last season you can get in this reserve system. And the exact same thing for the first season, I believe. Even though like the vast majority of those items were reserve crates anyway, but you know what I mean. I would imagine that every single reserve item that was exclusive to reserves in season 1 and 2 as well is available now from those reserves as well. There's also new items, and yeah, so it's quite beefy. You know, it's quite a beefed up system. In addition to this, the way they made camos from the store work was that if you bought a camo, it would say this camo is designed for the GKS or whatever, or the Rampart. However, it can be equipped on every other gun that you've unlocked gold for. Fair enough, that makes sense. Kind of. I mean, you're paying for the camo, so you should get it unlocked in every single gun in the game. I don't understand why you have to do something to unlock it in other guns. It's just another money-making ploy, to be honest, or trying to beef up their playtime from players. The thing is that from reserve crates, if you get a camo, it's back to the Black Ops 3 system, where if you get one camo, if you get a camo, let's say it's called Jungle, which I don't know if that's an actual camo or not in the game, but let's say you get Jungle camo, and it says you have unlocked this for the Rampart. You can only use it on the Rampart. If you get gold in other guns, you still can't use it on those guns. So if you get a camo from supply crates, or whatever they are, reserve crates at this stage, you can only use it on one gun. The exact same as Black Ops 3, which is ridiculous in my opinion. Every COD since Black Ops 3 has improved upon the whole camo system, and it's just stupid. Like, it's ridiculous. One of the worst things about Black Ops 3 was the supply drops, and they're making the system worse than Black Ops 3. In addition to this, so you can get duplicates, so it's not even protected. As far as I know, you don't get anything in compensation for getting reserve. Obviously in Black Ops 2 you got crypto keys for compensation, or given back to you as, because you got a duplicate, here's a couple of crypto keys so you can buy another supply drop or whatever. In Infinite Warfare you get salvage, so as you could buy variants from the Quartermaster collection or whatever, or the prototype lab. In World War 2 I think it was armory points you got, and in this game you get nothing. I think you can reroll the first duplicate that you get in a supply drop or in a reserve crate. However, if you get more than 2 you're screwed. You can only reroll one item and you don't get anything for them, because obviously you can't buy reserve crates with keys or anything. You can only get them with time played. But the real salt in the wound is that if you buy reserve crates, you get 3 reserve cases, which is a fancy way of saying if you play 2 hours, you will get 1 item. You will get a supply drop which gives you 1 item. But if you spend £2, you will get a supply drop which gives you 3 items. These supply drops can still give you duplicates, and obviously that's where the rerolling thing comes into play, because if you earn a supply drop, it just rerolls item, because you're only going to get 1 item, so you get 1 reroll per reserve crate. And if you, well, from what I understand, you get 1 reroll per reserve crate. And obviously if you earn it, then you only get 1 item, so if it's a duplicate it rerolls it anyway. But if you buy it, it's really bad value for money, because if you get 2 duplicates it only rerolls 1, and you just get completely screwed for the other one. So I don't know what Activision are doing, to be honest, because I feel like this is Activision worse than Treyarch. Because I think, now I don't know if it relates back to it, but obviously last month, I think, or maybe a wee bit earlier than that, it was announced that Bungie, who obviously are the developers of Destiny, were leaving Activision because they had a partnership with Activision where Activision published Destiny, but Bungie were the developers obviously and took like full responsibility of it. Obviously they still had to meet Activision's expectations and generate revenue for them. However, I think they came to a mutual agreement where Forsaken underperformed in terms of Activision standards, but I think overperformed in terms of Bungie standards. So Bungie was like, we did really well, screw you, and Activision was like, you did really, really poorly, screw you. So they both parted ways, and they're in the process of parting ways at the moment. And Activision stated, I paraphrase because I can't remember the exact thing, but they basically said, we are splitting from Bungie so as we can invest more time and money and our other studios, because they had Vicarious Visions. Yeah, they had Vicarious Visions and they had High Moon Studios working on Destiny as well for some of the expansions and stuff. So they can now move them to work on other projects. So I think Vicarious Visions works on Crash Bandicoot and High Moon has worked on COD in the past. But they basically said they wanted to invest more money into other IPs that they actually own, such as Call of Duty, which is the only one I can think of at the moment, because I think that's the only thing they have left. Crash, Spyro, and COD as the actual alive IPs at the moment. But obviously, if they're losing out on an entire game franchise, which generated quite a bit of money, Destiny's not a small game by any means, it means that they're going to have to monetize, which they said they want to monetize COD in more ways. They said that in the most recent investors call. So basically, what's happening is they lost Bungie, they lost Destiny, which means they're losing a large chunk of revenue. They therefore have to invest more money into other IPs that they have, other games that they have, and also monetize those games in more ways to get more money. So Call of Duty ultimately is going to be of a higher standard, but also going to have more microtransactions, in theory. So we're going to have Black Ops 4, which had a really big update yesterday for PS4, and they're probably going to get more bigger updates and stuff. In response to the bigger updates, we're going to get even more screwed by supply drops and microtransactions. So to summarise it, we have a 50 quid game with a 35 quid season pass, which has a free battle pass system in it to time gate content and make you feel good for spending hours playing the game. We have supply drops, which you can earn 1 item from if you spend 2 hours playing the game, and you can buy them directly for £2 or £3 or whatever. I think it's 2 quid per supply drop, which will give you 3 items, and you also have an in-game store which you can buy Blackout characters, which, oh, by the way, if you buy a Blackout character you then have to rank up about 4 or 5 tiers to actually unlock that in-game. So you're paying 50 quid for the game, You're then paying 35 quid for the season pass. You're then paying money for whatever's in the store, and then you can also purchase tiers in the battle pass. And you can also buy supply drops, and everything else you have to spend. If you want to get it for free, you have to spend an outrageously long amount of time to get everything. Screw you, COD, I'm probably not going to buy another one unless you sort out your micro. Well, no, I'm not going to buy another Treyarch game because Treyarch are the worst for this stuff, as seen from Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4. And the main reason for this is because people see Treyarch and buy it, and then they put up with all the rubbish that comes out that entire year because it's Treyarch and they're the best, aren't they? So yeah, obviously no hate towards Treyarch because it's Treyarch and Treyarch are pretty decent. However, Activision see it as an opportunity to be like, right, Treyarch are our most successful developers, we're gonna absolutely cram pack fill their game with microtransactions, which is why Infinite Warfare, being the underperforming Call of Duty of the past 3 years, has had the best supply drop system and is therefore the best game. Goodbye.